Is resilience acquired or inherent? When people face challenges, difficulties, setbacks, why is it that some people seem to be able to bounce back quicker? What is it about them? Is it hardwired within them, that ability? And others find it very challenging, very difficult. This is a question that affects us all, because nobody in life is immune from various types of disappointments, dreams shattered, different negative experiences, whether at our own hands or the hands of others. We may have been hurt. It's part of life. The real question is, how do you heal from it? And above all, where do you find the strength to forge ahead, even when there's been a serious loss, failure? So please join me in this critical discussion. From setback to comeback, the secret of Netzach. We are in the week as we count the Omer of developing, evaluating, diagnosing, and improving that attribute called determination, resilience, fortitude. And let's learn how we can access that inherent faculty within each of us to help us get through any given situation, to help us achieve our greatest aspirations. Hi, this is Simon Jacobson, and we will be speaking about From Setback to Comeback, the secret of Netzach. This program is dedicated by Gloria Gittel in memory of Herman Jacob Goodman. Here's a question to ponder upon. Is resilience acquired or inherent? Are we born with it? Or is it something that we acquire in life? Why is it that people facing challenges, difficulties, setbacks, some are able to bounce back quicker, have that strength, fortitude, resilience, and others find it very difficult to get over failures or losses or hurt, whether it's at the hands of others, the hands of ourselves, abuse. So if you're saying that some people are hardwired that way and some not, then really you don't have much choice. If it's, on the other hand, acquired, what will it take to acquire that quality? Well, let me tell you this. It's hardwired within you. Yet you need to acquire the tools to access it. So it's inherent and acquired. And we're going to learn how to dig and excavate that particular instrument, if you wish, that faculty, that attribute within us. So we're now in a period, it's called the 49-day period of counting the Omer. Some of you may be familiar with it through my book, The Spiritual Guide to Counting the Omer. Essentially, it's 49 days, 7 weeks. 7 weeks times 7 days is 49 days of character development, personality growth. But the key to it all is understanding ourselves. We're not just talking about Band-Aids and quick fixes, but looking to actually soul search, introspection. Just like it is on a medical level, you want to diagnose something before you intervene. So here too, we want to diagnose and evaluate what makes us tick. So we have, thank God, we have a formula. We have a blueprint. I would call it an X-ray, a CAT scan, if you wish, of our emotional psyche. And just like an actual X-ray allows you to see things that the naked eye cannot see, here too we get a picture, a snapshot, a map of our emotions. And there are 7 emotions. And each one of these 7 weeks is dedicated to focusing on one of them and in its details. Quickly, the 7 are, I'll say them in Hebrew and then translate: Chesed, love and kindness; Gevura, discipline; Tiferet, compassion, empathy; Netzach, which we'll be addressing; fortitude, resilience, ambition, determination, drive; Hod, humility and flexibility; yielding; Yesod, bonding; and finally Malchus, dignity. So we're zeroing in on week 4, Netzach. Literally, Netzach means victory, to be victorious. But victory means overcoming a challenge, a battle of some sort, whether it's physical or spiritual or psychological or emotional, and coming out victorious. That requires a certain fortitude, a certain drive, a certain moving forward. There are many people, when faced with confrontation, they retreat. They become passive. Whatever the reason may be. There are other people that are always looking for confrontation, always looking to win, win. You need a balance, obviously. So in Netzach itself, we have 7 dimensions. The chesed, the love within Netzach, to make sure Netzach is loving and not pure drive and ambition that can step on others. You have the gvura within Netzach, the discipline within it. You have the compassion within it. You have the fortitude within fortitude. And then you have the yielding and humility within it, and you have the bonding within it, and the dignity. And in this understanding of Netzach, which is right here, embedded right inside you, right now, you have the answer to how to build resilience and strength in your life. It's accessing that faculty. Think of muscles that you may not have used, or if you used minimally. How do you get them active? You have to exercise them. So first you have to be aware that they're there, obviously, and then you exercise them. And as you exercise them, you get stronger. It's exactly the same way it is emotionally and psychologically and spiritually. However, the exercises are not physical per se. It's not lifting weights, it's not running, it's not swimming, it's not walking, or other exercises. It's emotional exercises. And we'll talk about real practical ones that can help us build that fortitude. So let's dig deeper. Netzach. What happens when you're faced with a challenge, a difficulty, a setback? So some people get overwhelmed, demoralized. It's disconcerting, it's unnerving, disorienting, all the words you want to use. And that itself creates even more paralysis. That makes it difficult to get out of the swamp, out of your own emotional, we can say, weakness that you're experiencing, saying, I've failed. Who says I'll succeed again? It affects our confidence, our self-esteem. Obviously, you have to fill in the blanks because every case is different and people are different, and some are more serious setbacks, some less. But whatever it may be, it's a challenge. Some people just forge ahead, gung-ho, go-getters, and they may also be not always the easiest or correct thing to do. Because let's say it's something that, let's say, God forbid, a death of a loved one. You may need, in Judaism, there's Shiva, 7 days where people sit and mourn and grieve. You don't have to right now just spring back into action as if nothing happened. Part of the process of healing, actually the part of the process of resilience and growth and strength, is knowing that now maybe I have to take an accounting, an introspection, a certain quiet down, allow the pain to seep through you, and then comes the point of rebuilding. So it's more complicated than just a matter of one way or the other. But at the end of the day, it comes down to that we do have in our spirit, in our soul, in our personalities, that Netzach ability. The question is how to access it and how to implement it in a healthy and proper way. Those people that just ride over anything that comes their way and they ignore it, not necessarily we have to admire, because it could be they're ignoring it now, but it remains bedded inside them. They never allowed themselves to really even grieve in that example that I gave. On the other hand, to remain overwhelmed is also not the right way to go. So what exactly is this part of ourselves? So it comes back to a bigger question. What defines you? Are you defined by your experiences, whether it's successes or failures, whether it's advances or retreats or setbacks? Very many of us, our confidence and our self-esteem is built upon what others think of us. Whether it began with our parents, who may have been judgmental or critical, educators, friends, being bullied, school, society. Until this day, every one of us is affected by, we're not an island unto ourselves. We are affected by those around us. That's fine. We are social beings. But the question is whether it defines us. If you are defined by what others are thinking and feeling, that means you're lacking self-definition. In the classic words of Hillel, the great sage, if I'm not for myself, who will be for me? There's a self that we have. So very often, this element of fortitude or resilience, Netzach, is actually an outgrowth and a byproduct of that sense of self. Because if you know that yourself is absolutely important, indispensable, that itself gives you the confidence to get through anything. Because no matter what happens in life, that does not define you. You've experienced it, but it doesn't define or shape you. And that's a critical piece. So essentially, what I'm saying is, to access Netzach, you have to get rid of, or at least scrape away, distractions that don't allow you to access that sense of self. Because even if you have that muscle, as I put it earlier, but if it's obfuscated or it's blocked by fat, just using an example, or other factors that don't allow you to access it, for all practical purposes, you're not going to execute on that level. So you have to look at your life in a sense, what is going on in my life? How much of my life am I pleasing others? How much is it defined by others' expectations and demands? Do you have time for yourself? I often speak about an exercise right in the morning as soon as you wake up, the Moda Ani, to say, I thank you, gratitude. Thank you for returning my soul to me. So besides the expression of gratitude, which is beautiful, you're also reinforcing the very essence of who you are. I have a soul. It's my soul. That's what defines me. I have a unique mission. It's now been renewed, the contract, as evidences that I just woke up. And I'm appreciating it. I'm making myself aware of it. I'm not defined by my job. I'm not defined by my family. I'm not defined by the achievements, or for that matter, the losses or failures that may happen from time to time. I'm defined by my soul. My soul is going on a journey. That journey has twists and turns, ups and downs. There are times of tremendous success. There are times of setbacks. But it's all part of a journey of the soul. So even a setback is really also part of the journey. It's like sometimes you need to go back before you go forward. That's the context and how you see it. Instead of being defined by the moments, by the different frames, you see it all part of a larger narrative. And whose narrative is? It's your narrative. It's your soul. So the Netzach element of fortitude, of determination, of resilience, goes hand in hand with a sense of self. That's what you need to explore. The first thing is awareness. How much of that self is expressing itself? And how much is being held hostage by those around you? Now, I'm not suggesting we don't have responsibilities to our families, to our loved ones, to our employers, to our co-workers, to others, to friends. Of course we do. That's the second half of the statement of Hillel. If I'm not for myself, who will be for me? Then he continues, if I'm only for myself, what am I? Because we're part of a larger symphony. And we complement each other. But it begins with the I. Ein ani li mili ani. Moda ani. I acknowledge. I thank you. My soul. And not about ego. It's about value, about self-esteem. Those that have that intact, their Netzach is active. If that element of resilience is not active, that ability to take a setback and turn it to a comeback, that means there's probably a weakening in your own sense of self. Not that you don't have the faculty. You hear very often about athletes, great tennis players or baseball players who get into a funk, not because they lost their talent, nothing happened, but psychologically something. And they stop believing in themselves, or they lost something, or maybe they were injured before and they can't bring themselves back even though they're healthy again, or something gets into their head. And a good coach is someone that helps you get back aligned, to recognize you have the talent. So it's not just having a talent, it's being aware of it and acting on it. So that we have this component is within us, that's a fact. But you have to believe in yourself. And for that you need friends that believe in you as well. And you have to be doing activities of success. Success breeds success. Fortitude breeds fortitude. Resilience breeds resilience. So, practical suggestion. Even if there's something in your life that you find difficulty to overcome, whatever the reason is, and you can't tackle that head on. So choose your battles, divide and conquer. Find something you can handle. Something that is easier conquest, so to speak, an easier victory. And small victories lead to big victories. One step at a time, as they say. Because it builds confidence. Someone will say, hey, I want to run a marathon of 22 miles. If you've never done it before, it's not going to be that easy. Why don't you run 1 mile, half a mile, 2 miles? So besides the fact that you're building up and conditioning yourself, you're also building confidence. I remember one of the first experiences I had as a writer. I had to write a talk of my great mentor. It had to be from memory because it was on Shabbat and the holiday, so it had to be memorized. I had never done a full version, a full transcript, and it was literally, I felt, impossible. In those days, we used typewriters. There were no word processors yet. So I remember I had this little blue typewriter, and I typed 1 page. I didn't like it. I crumpled it up. These balls, threw it into the wastebasket. Another one. Probably by the end of the 4 hours, like I was talking about 4 o'clock in the morning, I had like 20 drafts that were now garbage balls, little balls in the wastebasket. And I started saying to myself, I don't know if I can do this. Maybe I took upon myself something that's beyond my capacity. I remember my father, who was a journalist and a writer, veteran. He woke up early, and he sees me aggravated. He sees me agonizing over this. And he asked me, so I said to him, I don't know if I can do this. I took upon a job, and I was really felt defeated. And I remember he told me these words. He said, you keep at it. You just keep doing it. Another 20 balls in the wastebasket, so be it. You'll finally break through. 1 page, another page. And remember, it's always going to be difficult. Even in 40 years from now. The difference will be that you'll know you can do it. Now you're not sure you can do it. Keep at it. You'll see you can do it. And it's always going to be difficult. It'll never come easy. But you'll have the confidence you can do it. Such a tremendous lesson. I listened, and I continued. And yes, by the morning, I had a decent page typed up. And then it went a lot easier, because the beginning was always getting out of the gate, so to speak. And it's true. It's how many years since then? We're talking about almost 50 years. Yeah, 50 years ago. And exactly right. Writing is difficult. But you have the confidence you can do it. And there are times you sit frustrated. Nothing's coming out. You have writer's block. And this is not working. That's not working. But you know there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And it's not the light of the oncoming train. You know that you can make it because you did it before. And you realize part of the growth is the frustration, actually. So sometimes while I'm frustrated, I'm really like tearing my hair out, if I have any hair left. I say to myself, remember, the frustration is a step toward the success. Don't forget that. See it through. This is critical in accessing the Netzacḥ. It's almost like a Netzacḥ of knowing that you have it and believing in your own Netzacḥ, even though you may not feel it at the moment. And of course, experience helps that along. Experience builds that confidence. So the thing that we all have to know is that we all have challenges like this. Don't think some people have less challenges than you. It's how we deal with it. Knowing that you have all the tools you need, no matter what challenge comes your way, you have resources to counter the challenge or to turn the challenge into an asset, to turn the setback into a comeback, and even greater than it was before. So it's the belief in self, doing things that help reinforce that. It's finding those around you that support and encourage, because that always helps. Because our own blind spots sometimes are our worst enemy, because they make us feel we can't do it. And it's building the confidence, keeping at it. Even when it doesn't seem like it's possible, you keep at it. Persistence. Yet another definition of Netzach, persistence. And persistence leads to reveal the resilience within each one of us. It's a tremendous experience when you see it emerge, because initially you may feel, I don't know if I have it within me. Now, obviously, you need to determine there are things not worth fighting for. That's where you may need an objective mentor or friend to review. But it's the areas that you need to fight for yourself, or things that you know for sure that need to be fought for. Those are the tools, those are the methods, and there are true methods, and they work. If you have my book, The Spiritual Guide to Counting the Omer, or you can download the app, a free app, My Omer, you can see the breakdown of each of the 7 components within Netzach. Not necessary to go into right here, but it all helps enhance this experience of finding that fortitude. So you can check it out. And it's all part of that introspection and part of the soul search and evaluation and diagnosis. And it's a powerful exercise just to sit down in a journal, or down in the book we have space to write, or a separate paper, or document where you can document and write. Where do you stand with your Netzach? From 1 to 10. And what about the love within Netzach? And all the other components that are all part of creating a healthy fortitude, a healthy resilience, a healthy, persistence, determination. And then it in turn becomes like a muscle that you continue to condition and grow, become stronger and stronger. And knowing also when Netzach should not be employed. There are times that you have to be flexible, that you have to yield. But it's not a contradiction. It's all part of the process. All of us can use more of Netzach in our lives, especially when we discover the things we believe in, the things we really believe in, are ready to fight for. Because that's another factor. If there's nothing that you're ready to fight for, and I mean fight, and I mean in a healthy way, in a good way, then of course it's difficult to, people say, everything is arbitrary, everything is optional. No, you should have things in your life that are not optional. And that's also important to define. Can you define a few items, 3 items, that are not optional? And I don't mean frivolous and superficial things. I mean really important in life, whether it's love, whether it's relationships, whether other things. And try to focus on healthy things, of course. And that too then says, so what am I doing to get it? That also builds up that element. And finally, one more point. Resistance creates resilience. Resistance creates resilience. You'll see. If I want to know how strong my arm is and my power, I can't really know when I just move it like that. But if someone resists, someone pushes back, you have an adversary, you have an opponent. A positive one, a sparring partner, as they call it. And they push back, then you'll push that way. Resistance, setbacks, bring out the best in us if we allow it to. Think of an olive. Only when you press it does it produce oil. So pressure, in the healthy and right manner, in the right measure, actually brings out the best in us. So having healthy competition, having something to compare to, a standard, a deadline, a challenge, actually can help develop your Netzach. Develop that fortitude, that resilience. So look for things that can do that. Many of us we'd like to be comfortable. But comfortable does not build strength. May we only be blessed with healthy forms of resistance, healthy forms of setbacks that only catapult and propel us to unprecedented heights. Obviously, a topic like this requires a lot more. I hope I did some justice to it. This has been Simon Jacobson, Meaningful Life Center, meaningfullife.com. If you benefited from this, please share with others. Please subscribe to our offerings. Subscribe to our growing, robust YouTube channel. Love to hear your feedback, comments, suggestions, thoughts. And as always, be strong. Conviction. Drive forward. Forge ahead. You have what it takes. Spread your wings. Dare to dare. Be great. Thank you.
This program is brought to you by the Meaningful Life Center. Please help us continue our programs. Make even a small contribution at meaningfullife.com/donate.